He's mad as hell. It's Kevin O'Sullivan.
Yes, welcome to my special show, What Just Happened, with my special guests, political commentator Lacey Butcher and the far less welcome political commentator JJ Anisiøbi. Thanks for coming, Lacey. You, not so much. Now, let's kick the show off with my thoughts on the royal rejects after that very special royal weekend. Heir today, gone tomorrow, screamed the front pages as spare to the throne, Harry, Duke of Netflix, jetted in for just a matter of hours to see his father crowned king in a breathtaking ceremony amid the awesome splendour of Westminster Abbey. To call the petulant prince's visit brief was something of an understatement. Blink and you'd miss it. Ahead of his arrival, I was worried that Charles's troublesome second son would overshadow the biggest day of his father's life. Say what you like about Harry, and let's face it, most of us do, but since bolting for California with former cable show actress Meghan Markle, his ability to hog the headlines has been unrivaled, and I feared that he would steal the limelight at his dad's coronation. But did he? Did he? Hell. He crept in like an awkward gatecrasher, seemed embarrassed to be consigned to the third row along with his fellow third-rate royal reject Prince Andrew, was out of there with indecent haste and on a plane back to America so quickly it was like a lightning-fast disappearing act. As royal commentator Angela Levin observed, it was the sad moment we lost Harry forever. A fallen favourite turning his back on his family, his country and on millions of Brits who once loved him. But worse than that, was it the awful moment when we stopped caring? I think his story is all but over, played out, a closed book after the final chapter finished on a dazzling day of incomparable majesty he should have been a pivotal part of, but preferred not to be. Following Harry's mean-spirited Netflix series branding us a nation of colonial racists and his even more mean-spirited tome Spare, attacking his heartbroken father, his devastated brother and Camilla, who he spitefully called the villain of the piece, what else is there that this guy can do to say, to shock, or even surprise us? His epic self-pity has become a repetitive bore, a predictable chorus of carping complaints from a privileged prince who asks us to believe that his gilded life in palaces and on private planes was sheer hell. Pass me the world's smallest violin. Of course, we sympathise with his anguish over the loss of his tragic mother, Princess Diana, but the truth is, we've had enough of his me moaning. And frankly, whatever Hollywood-style stunts his publicity-hungry Mrs. Meghan may be cooking up, I'm not sure we care much anymore. Not so long ago, among the Brits he snubbed and left behind, there was genuine, widespread antipathy, anger even. But as the people of this great nation celebrated the King's magnificent coronation, it was clear that their antipathy towards Harry had dissolved into a kind of couldn't care less apathy. He's gone. Goodbye. Good luck. And good riddance. As for his disgraced uncle Andrew, what on earth did this pompous oaf think he was playing at, gliding down the Mall alone in the back of a limousine, as if the crowds were desperate to see him? Some said the dismal Duke of York was booed. He wasn't. His self-styled VIP journey to the Abbey unfolded to indifferent silence, trapped in a scandal of his own making for which he will never be forgiven. Andrew's sordid story is also over. He can puff himself up all he likes, donning his Batman-style Order of the Garter cloak, but for him too, the crowning of the King was the last hurrah. Now let the curtain fall on the tawdry Andy show while his narcissistic nephew fades away into the Californian sunset. The end. It's a crying shame, because it was nice to know Harry until it wasn't. Now, Lacey, please excuse me, not ladies first this time. I'm going to pass you over, go directly to JJ, because I deliberately wrote that to annoy him, because I know he quite likes Harry. But you will agree with me, JJ, at least about Prince Andrew.
I agree about Prince Andrew, but let me say, first of all, another fantastic monologue from you, Kevin. A fantastic journalist, a fantastic writer. People forget how good a journalist you are because they see you on TV talking rubbish most of the time. That is the problem. And half of your monologue, I've got to say, is rubbish. People love Harry. It was great. He did the best thing. He came in, low profile, OK, just, yeah, it's all about my father. I'm in, I'm out, and I'm gone. That was the perfect thing he could have done. If he'd stayed and he was on the balcony, people would have said, why isn't he on the balcony? He's done that deliberately because he wants the attention on him. And if he'd been on the balcony, people like Lacey would have said, he's on the balcony to steal the attention from the king. How dare he? Rah, 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 rah. So he did the right thing. But you're completely right about Andrew.
Listen, for your praise of me alone, you can come back. Lacey, what did you think? I mean, I thought that he did leave with indecent haste, and I think he left his father heartbroken. I really do.
I think everything that Harry does has left his father heartbroken. I mean, the crux of the royal family is it's meant to represent the unity, and that they represent us on a bigger realm than I think either you or Harry can perhaps comprehend. But it was a marvellous day, and I think it was magical, wasn't it?
It was great. It was great. It was great. I think, and by the way, we call him Pa here.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
Sorry.
What is that? Why do they call him Pa? What about Dad? Like the rest of us? Pa.
I think Pa would be disappointed that Harry didn't stay, but I think it would have been worse for everyone else in the room had Harry stayed there. The tension would have been unbearable.
And that's where I kind of do agree. I think there would have been far bigger uproar had Harry made a bit of more of a commotion, because, again, it would be about stealing the headlines, taking the limelight away from his father on his big day.
Now, listen, it's time now for a really bad commercial. Let's hit it.
Run Gilbert Homes, built with class and style. Run Gilbert Homes makes it all worth the while. Run Gilbert is the man who has the perfect plan. Run Gilbert says, welcome home, welcome home. Run Gilbert Homes, welcome home.
Superior.
Well, they do look like dream homes, more like dream bungalows, but this is what happens after you move into a Ron Gilbert home.
Okay.
The furniture's arrived. The house looks great.
Oh, I won't be late. I'll see you soon.
With every Ron Gilbert home, the excitement keeps building even after you've moved in. With the latest addition, Millwood, the display village is now complete. Come and excite yourself today. Ron Gilbert Homes, simply superior.
There are no words. There are no words.
I mean, if that's the case, I might be looking up Ron Gilbert myself.
Yeah.
Get me a new home.
I was going to say, Ron Gilbert's plan is pretty good, isn't it?
I mean, when they're sitting around that table with the candelabra, it doesn't look that kind of exciting, does it?
No.
It's but this is Australian, I believe.
Yes, it is.
I mean, the Sheilas down there, I don't know if they're impressed by a little bungalow, then maybe I should move down to Australia.
Yeah,
That's the future.
I mean, and then they get into the bath. I mean, gosh.
But, I mean, how guaranteed is his plan? I mean, you know, in the small print, is that kind of outcome guaranteed?
If you buy one of my homes, you definitely get sex with your wife. That should work, yeah? I mean, it works for me,
That's what he said.
Well, as we know, anyone who gets married never has sex, so that's the first flaw.
Well, unless you're living in a
Ron Gilbert home.
home. See,
Superior
good advertising.
quality.
By the way, in Australia, and actually great swathes of America, have they never heard of a second floor, an upper floor? Everyone lives in a bungalow in the States and in Australia.
It's bizarre. Also, in the first advert, I didn't like the fact that girls got out of the swimming pool and walked straight through the house. The floor would be covered in water.
Yeah.
Who's going to clean that up? Ron Gilbert?
What would Ron Gilbert say about that?
Disgusting
Well,
behaviour.
I didn't think much of Ron Gilbert's hair either in the opening shot. Now, I think it's time for anti-social media. This is the spot in the show where we analyse some of the fan mail that I've been receiving on social media. This is... Sorry, I haven't read this one before. Right, here we go. Artist Kevin O'Sullivan is a disgrace to our bloody country. This MSM, mainstream media, boomer should be in the Betty Ford Clinic, not on a far-right news channel. Well, that's casting aspersions about my drinking habits, isn't it?
It is. You handle your drink very well. A bottle of whiskey a morning is a lot, I think.
Yeah, you can barely tell.
It's very presumptuous of them.
I think it's outrageous. Betty Ford Clinic, where is this person from? Hey, the 1970s rang, they want you back. Now, let's move on to the next one. Kevin O'Sullivan and Mike Graham think the local election was good for the Tories. These gammons think they are great political thinkers. Keep taking Klaus Schwab's money. Well, Klaus Schwab's is something to do with that World Economic Forum.
Yes. So last time I was on the show, we spoke about him, and I looked him up. He was the founder, and he's a billionaire.
Yeah, oh yeah. He does very well out of Davos.
Yeah. He's making a killing.
Is it Davos, isn't it?
It's Davos.
I call it
Davos is
Davros.
from
It's
Doctor
that
Who.
Dalek guy. Exterminate.
Not too far away.
The World Economic Forum in Davos. Don't miss it. Here's my third one. Kevin O'Sullivan is a lying toe rag. Maybe because he has a drink problem. This spouts such garbage with his equally uneducated sidekick Mike Graham. They just make up and bring broadcasting into disrepute. Well, we're doing our best, you know.
Absolutely.
But in case you think it's just me that gets insulted on the social media, it isn't, because Lacey Butcher too has her problems. Take it away,
Oh,
Lacey.
I just didn't want you to feel too lonely. That was all it is. No, this is a great one that came in this morning. Who does this jumped-up Tory slapper think she is? No brains and even less beauty. Get off your high horse, back on Daddy's pony, and off to wherever you came from.
Oh, you got it from... I sent that to you. I actually received it.
Just to finish, Tory.
Tory.
You're not a Tory, are you? The rest is true, but you're not a
Well,
Tory.
you know, I would engage in conversation, but they probably don't know the difference between a big C and a small C Conservative. So what can you do? And just one more. Lacey Butcher, or Lazy Bitcher, as I'd like to call it, is the worst thing that could happen to TalkTV. Get that Hitler Youth wannabe off the box. Pale, stale, and probably a male. There we go.
Exactly. You know why I'm not a Tory?
Why?
They're too left-wing. And now we're going to a proper commercial. What just happened?
He's mad as hell. It's Kevin O'Sullivan.
Who the hell are Sue Gray and Simon Case, and why the hell is everybody talking about them? If your answers are don't know and don't know, join the Bemused Club. How did this dismal duo of dullards come to dominate the news agenda? What on earth is happening when a couple of dreary Whitehall pen pushers are all over the front pages making banner headlines? Here's the depressing answer. Super Sue and exciting Simon are, drumroll, civil servants, luminaries among the 500,000 or so public sector drones who used to fill the departments of state around Westminster, but now prefer the dysfunctional system euphemistically called working from home, otherwise known as watching Netflix on the government's payroll. At the last count, there were 485,000 of them, the majority ostensibly toiling in London, but now dotted around the suburbs in their dressing gowns, insisting there's no need to ever go to their empty offices. While it's all too painfully obvious that working from home doesn't work, it works for the civil servants who, on their way to their generous locked-in pensions, are now, it seems, allowed 52 weeks holiday a year. That Rishi Sunak and his woefully woke, horrible, high-tax, non-Tory administration have totally lost control of government employees goes some way to explaining the dreadful mess this country is in. There is great enthusiasm for such important events as the Department of Work and Pensions lunch and Q&A session with a real-life witch, and we wish bondage fans at the Ministry of Justice all the best in their campaign to be recognised as an official minority group whose sexual fetish deserves respect. I'm sure that the Check Yo Privilege training programme was a wonderful way to waste taxpayers' money, as of course are the 330 diversity and inclusion executives, all on upwards of 50,000 quid a year. At the Ministry of Defence, the Diversity Supremo gets a bumper £115,000 a year and boasts that her baffling department protects the protectors. Quite how that protects the nation remains a mystery. Presiding over this scandalous omnishambles are the obscenely over-rewarded mandarins at the helm of the civil service blob, drawing their vast salaries. 600 of them earn more than 150,000 and sitting blithely in their ivory towers while left-wing staff busy themselves trying to topple their hated nemesis, the evil Conservative Conservative government that pays their inflated wages. Rishi Sunak's greatest mistake is letting the people who are supposed to make his policies happen not only ignore him, but also conspire to get rid of him. Never fit for purpose in living memory, the utterly hopeless Home Office makes sure that illegal immigrants get to stay in the UK indefinitely. And at the Ministry of Justice, far-left liars defenestrated Secretary of State Dominic Raab by pretending he swore and threw tomatoes at them. Neither was true, and yet Rishi let Raab resign. Major error. Who runs Britain? The Prime Minister or political activist civil servants? Looks like it's the latter. Now we're obsessing on scintillating Sue Gray, who disgracefully kept quiet the fact that while she was a senior aide to Boris Johnson's Tory administration, she was secretly plotting with Labour leader Keir Starmer to become his chief of staff. Accused of breaking the Civil Service Code's 3 sacred tenets of impartiality, honesty and integrity, Miss Gray has refused to cooperate with an inquiry into her dubious dealings. She was not so reluctant to conduct the inquiry into Partygate, so she doesn't mind investigating others, but objects to being investigated herself. And why was Civil Service Sue asked to carry out the Partygate probe? Because Cabinet Secretary Simon Case couldn't, due to the awkward truth that at least 2 of the nefarious lockdown knees-ups unfolded in his department. Footnote: while Boris has gone, Simon is still on the case in his pivotal £205,000 a year role. No one knows why. Meanwhile, looks like Sue Gray's shady conniving is set to get her barred from joining Labour for as long as 2 years. Serves her right. Now let's stop talking about Grey Woman Grey so she can return to the obscurity for which she was designed. I'll let you get your oar in a minute, JJ. But Lacey, your thoughts?
Well, I absolutely agree. I mean, why is there now... Oi, what's it, you?
Old lefty boy.
I know. Why do you invite him, honestly? No.
I just don't know.
There's this...
No, because he says nice things about me.
Yeah. You pay him for that, though. No. This invidious culture now that has this idea that the civil service needs to be some kind of check and balances for the government of the day, which simply isn't the case. They're there to be impartial, not to be independent. Now, I find it fascinating how people keep getting these words confused. Impartiality should be fearless and absolute in its execution. Why is it now that we're allowing... Rishi Sunak, for example, is allowing these bodies to carry on as independent? Are we even surprised that Sue Gray was able to breach her impartiality and have chats with Labour? Don't think so.
JJ.
Look, I think... So you said so many good things in that,
I
Kevin.
know. I leave you kind of divided.
Yeah, you do. So I want to disagree, but it's like, well, actually, I think civil servants should be back in the offices. I think it's lazy there at home. I think there's too many of them on inflated wages. I think they're paid too much money as it is. I don't think there should be, for someone as important as Sue Gray, there should be some kind of non-compete. She shouldn't be able to leave and go and work for the next, like the opposition so easily. It seems immoral that would be allowed. But as a lefty, I hate what you're saying, and right on for the civil servants and go Corbyn. I don't know.
Go Corbyn. Go Corbyn. Get out of the room. Get out. That's it. You've crossed the line now. But I mean, the point is, you just concede this, JJ. Whatever your political affiliations, it's not right that civil servants should conspire to get rid of government ministers.
How do we know that they were lying about Dominic Raab?
Because, I'll tell you why, because there were 34 civil servants who made accusations that were distilled into 8 different charges. And only 2 of them were found to be true, and that was that he raised his voice a bit. And
God forbid.
And upset some of his staff with his rather brusque manner. The accusations about throwing tomatoes, swearing, being physically intimidating were found to be untrue. So, Lacey, some of them were lying.
Definitely. And I mean, the ones that he did raise his voice to, I believe that they had missed deadlines. So it was essentially a boss telling off people beneath him because they hadn't done the work properly. I mean, is that not how it's meant to operate?
Kev, you worked in a newsroom as well.
Oh, let's not even go there.
Exactly. Like an editor punching you in the face, pushing you, shoving you, telling you how bad you are, but with obviously a lot worse use of vocabulary. that's part of the course. So for Rob to be fired because he raised his voice. So you work for the government in one of the most important departments we have. Of course there's going to be pressure. Of course you're going to get shouted at. I think that is wrong with the civil service.
I agree. A boss should be allowed to rebuke staff for poor
Yes.
work, and that's essentially what he did. And as I say, it was found not to be true that he threw tomatoes or swore at them. So it stands to reason that out of the 34 civil servants who made these charges, some of them were lying. And Rishi Sunak is screwing up by losing a total grip on his own civil service. It's an absolute mess, and you're absolutely right. They shouldn't be working from home. Get them into the office and get them to do what they're told. That's what they're for. Let's move on. We're still with politics. It's time for Vote For Me. This is Trevor Holden, he's the Chief Executive of Norfolk Council, with a very special message.
Come on, guys, the message is clear. May's local election is drawing near. Bring your ID to make your vote count. This is what democracy is all about.
Perfect.
Well, eat your heart out, Eminem. What a rapper.
I know.
He's good, isn't he?
He's lost my vote and he needs to be sectioned quite clearly.
Oh,
what a loon.
contraire. He's got my vote in the bag. Are you joking?
Are you joking?
Wrapping identification with rejection. Mwah.
What audience is this for? Is this for the youths who are into the rap?
But that's what's interesting about this, because the ID system, the people they were trying seriously to get the message across were older people.
Yes.
Who had been voting all
Of
their
course.
life and didn't realise there'd been a change. That's his way of connecting with
With the old people,
pensioners.
They're big Dr. Dre fans.
Thanks,
the
Trev.
OPs.
Thanks. I don't think so.
Nuts.
Shall we go back to a bit of bad TV again?
Yes. Series.
Now, you remember not so long ago we did Bad TV, which was an advert for Coventry Market, the legendary, world-famous Coventry Market. Well, this is another example. Why do these people keep rapping? Here's some more crap rapping. Take it away. What's his name? Well, it is the Montgomery Flea Market in Alabama.
It's just like a mini mall. Hey, hey, you heard me. Come shop. Living rooms, bedrooms, diners. We got it. You need it. You'll find it. It's just like a mini mall. Hey, hey, you heard me. Come shop. I said flea market, Montgomery. It's just like a mini mall. Hey, hey.
Terrifying expression. I don't know the name of that guy, but I don't want to either. But if you think he's bad at rapping, have a look at his dancing.
Let's make it a dance. Come on now. To the left, to the right. Let's do this dance. Hey, to the left, to the right. Let's make this a dance. Flea market, Montgomery. It keeps you jumping. It's just like a mini mall. Check it out now.
Well, I don't know. Your thoughts, Lacey?
Go on, Lacey, you go.
Maybe if he moved a little bit more to the left and right, he wouldn't have to get those tailor-made suits. No.
Taylor, mate. Was that a suit? I thought it was a marquee.
I'll tell you what, I was just thinking, wouldn't it be amazing to see a collaboration between him and
good
Ron
Lord.
Gilbert? You know, he's going to provide the homes.
Ouch.
Then we get the furniture to put in it, right? That would be fantastic.
Anyone who watches this channel and has the stereotypical thoughts in the head that, well, all black people can rap and dance.
Yes.
Well, this large gent from the US is proof that this is not true.
I'm glad you went there, but you know what I mean. Listen, thanks so much. Well, that was really good fun. Thank you very much, and I genuinely mean this, to my old friend JJ Anisiøbi, and also, of course, to the brilliant political commentator Lacey Butcher. That's it. That's the end of What Just Happened for another week. We'll be back next week.
Living rooms, bedrooms, diners. We got it.